Are you recording this?
I am.
For what? Are we gonna do a flip lesson too?
No, but Layla being absent, she knew she was going to be gone. She asked if I would. So I said sure. And then I'll put it on the website.
Can they hear us?
Yeah, probably a little bit. So hey Layla. Okay, so and actually if you're ever absent ahead of time and you would like to request that, talk to me about it and I can probably just record the lesson, put it online, and then you can listen to the notes. Okay? No, it's just recording what's on my laptop. All right, we need to go ahead and get started. So I actually cut out a little bit of this lesson. I decided I wanted to just focus on the estimating because there's another piece of it that we're not going to do, and that's kind of finding a percent mentally. And that has to do with estimating, but I just thought, you know what, let's just get to the basics and let's just estimate percents of a number. So it'll be a fairly short lesson. I'm going to let you, we'll do this, and then I'm going to let you work on homework. Okay? So estimating the percent of a number. Before we estimate, let's just talk about if we had something like maybe 32% of, let's do 21. I want you to go ahead and use your calculator. Take your calculator out. You're not going to really need it for this lesson, but I'll let you use it for this one problem because it's a review problem. I want you to set up a proportion and see what you get. Okay, do your percent proportion is over of equals percent out of 100. Go ahead and solve it. See what 30%, 32% of 21 is.
Do we have to round?
Let's not round it. Let's just leave it because it stops. Mason, what was the proportion that you wrote?
I put 21 over x, and 32 over 100.
Okay. Tell me why you wrote it that way.
Because 32% is 32 over 100.
Good.
I was 21. I was 21.
Oh, good. You caught your mistake. Because of, it is over of, so we need to have x over 21.
Yeah, that's what I did. I was going to say that.
So then we do cross products. 100x equals, was it 672?
Yeah.
Divide both sides by 100. So x is equal to 6.72.
Can we use our calculator?
If it's not estimating, yes. But we're about to do estimating, and you shouldn't need a calculator for that. But what if we talked about in the past that, because I want to show you another way to work this percent of a number problem. What if we said that the word of typically means? Good. Okay, write that down if you think, oh, I might need to review that. But of typically means you're multiplying. So if we want to find 32% of 21, we could just multiply 32% times 21. But we can't keep it in the percent form. So what could we easily change it to? We could do fractions or, yes, it's decimal form. So let's try that. So it's 0.32. Of means multiply by 21. Type that in your calculator after you write it down and see if you get the same answer. Okay, so that if you have a problem that's just percent of a number, you're welcome to go ahead and just do the percent times the number, but you have to make sure you change the percent either to a fraction or decimal first. We don't multiply in its percent form. So if that's the case, when we're estimating percents of a number, let's just do this percent times the number, but let's estimate. What does estimating mean?
Taking an educated guess.
It's not an educated guess. Avery?
Oh, it's like
Haley?
It's when you're like, if you have like a long decimal, you're kind of making it, you're like making it more like approximate.
It's approximate. Good. What else could we say? You said approximation, Bryce?
It's like close to the actual.
It's close to the actual answer. Is it exact?
No.
No.
No. But are there times in our world where we don't need an exact answer?
Yes.
Yes. Like if you knew that, in this case, if you were in a store and they said 32% off. Now, usually they don't give you those type of percentages, but if they did, and your shirt cost $21 and you wanted to figure out, well, how much am I going to save if it's 32% off of 21? Well, that's going to take me a little time or a calculator to do. So let me just estimate and see about how much money I'm going to save, because they'll figure it up for me when I get up to the cash register. But in the meantime, I'd like to know an approximation. All right? There's all kinds of situations where estimating is helpful. It can also be helpful to see, is my answer reasonable? Okay? If I get 12,500 and I estimated it to be 10, well, obviously there's a gap there. There's a mistake. So let's do the estimating. What percent is 32% close to?
30.
30%. So let's estimate it at 30%.
This is problem number 2.
This is still problem 1. This time we're going to estimate.
Wait, so we're estimating percent and multiplying?
Okay. Now, what could we, 21, I think I'd like to estimate that one because it's not a real rounded off number. Let's just use 20. Now, in your homework, I'd like you to write the original problem, which would be this 32% of 21. And then I want you to just tell me what you changed them to, and then you need to actually work it out. So, we can do our is over of equals percent over 100, or because this is just percent of a number, what do I change 30% to? A decimal or a fraction, either one. I tend to like decimals, but it's up to you. What would it be, Max?
I was gonna ask. So do we have to do the original problem first, and then we do the?
Like get the answer for it? No, you do not. That's a good question. When I said write the original problem, I just want the problem written out.
Oh.
And then because the directions are just asking you to estimate.
And also. Sorry,
Did you lose your question? Okay, when you think of it, let me know. Avery, what would I change 30% to?
0.30.
0.30. Could I make it even 0.3?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If the shorter, the better. And then times 20. So then out to the side, I don't want you guys to use your calculators on this because you're already getting to estimate it. And it'll be good practice of multiplying. So we'll get 60, but then what do we do? Move the decimal over 1. So I get 6. That's my estimate. Is that close to what it actually is?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we saw it was 6.72, and we're saying it's about 6.
So you subtract that from 20.
Nope, that's it. I multiplied. I found the percent of the number.
Oh, okay.
Because of is multiply.
But if you were gonna like pay money in the store, you'd have to subtract that from 20.
If the question was, yeah, what's your sale price, then yeah, you would subtract your 6 from your $20.
Okay.
Oops. But in this, that was just sort of making up a what if. So this is just asking you to find out what is 30%, what is about 32% of 21. Haley.
Well, since this one's like close to 33%, and that's like 1/3 kind of.
Ooh.
If you had done 21 divided by 3, you would have gotten 7, which is closer than 6.
Uh-huh. Yeah, good point. So what she said was, well, 32% is really close to, and it's actually 33 1/3% is 1/3. That one, we're going to talk in a minute. There's a chart in your book that has, it's actually page 351. If you guys want to grab a book real quick and take a look at page 351, there's a table in there that gives you some common percent to fraction equivalents. And I'm not going to require that you memorize these, but if you want to, they're pretty common. And some of these you already know. But if you don't have them memorized, it's pretty easy to figure them out. So what Haley was saying there, Mason, was that 33 1/3% is close to 32, and 33 1/3% is 1/3. So then 1/3 times, now did you still do it times the 20? Or did you, times 20, you kept it 21? Sure. So she decided, well, the percent's close to 1/3. I'll keep it 21 because 3 goes into 21 evenly, and she got 7. So as long as you show me your work and they're reasonable estimates, you might have a slightly different answer, and that's okay. Yeah, good point. Bryce, you had your hand up earlier, I think. Did you get your question?
No, I forgot it.
Okay, Savannah.
We're gonna be able to do the decimal for all of these.
Changing like the percent to the decimal. You can choose whichever one you want.
Yeah, but like we said with the homework class that we couldn't do the decimal.
Because the direction said to change it to a fraction, or
We gotta find a percent. We can't do the decimal.
why don't you show it to me later? I'm not sure. With all the ones tonight, you can change it, the percent to a decimal. But some problems it might be easier to have it over 100. Bryce.
Alright, for like, so you had to show your work on the side for like 20 times 0.3. Would you have to do that if it was real simple? Like that?
If it was something without a decimal and it's something you can do in your head, no. That's fine. Okay, let's try another one. Number 2. So again, we're estimating. Let's do 62.5% of 17. Now, I want you to look in your table and find 62.5 on page 351. What is it? 5/8. I want to show you something. You wouldn't have to do it this way, but this is one way.
Why did they give us random numbers?
They're just common fractions, and then so the percent would be.
How is 62 and a half a common fraction?
No, the 5/8 is a common fraction. Fairly common. Some of them are. I don't have most of these memorized. I mean, I probably have 2/3 of these memorized. Okay, so 5/8 times now. What is close to 17 that would be easy to work with if I used 5/8?
20.
15.
16, right? Why, Lydia, is 16 a nice number for that?
Because 8 goes into 16 evenly.
Exactly. And is 16 close to the original number? Yes. Good. So then we could do 16 divided by 8 is 2. Then we get 10. Now, another way you could have done this is to say, okay, what could we estimate 62.5% to?
60.
60%
There.
of, what could we change, Mason, what could we change 17 to? What did you say earlier? 20. If I'm not dealing with this 5/8, it's not as big of a deal to try to find one that 8 goes into. So then 0.6 times 20. You could, but it tends to round up, Sebastian, so 15 is probably not as close. Now, multiply and see what you get. Did you get 12? I'd take either answer as long as you showed me your work for it. Timothy.
When do you like know
Sebastian, that's enough.
a multiplication like dot between the fractions or like an equal sign?
Well, because of means multiply, I need to use a dot or parentheses there.
Okay.
That's why. All right. What about this one? 75% of 24. And this one we might not even need to estimate. So what's 75%? What fraction? 3/4. So smart, Sebastian. Times, now, can I easily use 24? If it already works easily, then don't change it. Okay?
Why can't we just,
Oh.
So why is 24 easy to work with here?
Because 4 is multiple.
Right. 4 goes into 24 6 times. So then we get 18. Okay, Avery.
Could you have rounded 24 and 25 and just done like it that way?
If you're going to use 3/4, I wouldn't. But if you wanted to do like 75 over 100 and then 25, sure. You could do the decimal way if you want to. Okay, let's say we decided to just do a decimal, like round them. What would I round 75% to?
70.
You could either do 70 or 80, but we usually do a rounding of up, 5 or more, so I'd probably do 80% of, what should we use for 24? Maybe 20? I'm not going to be real picky about how you estimate. If you want to go round it down to 20, that's fine. So then we do 0.8 times 20. What do you guys get? 16. It's a little different, but they're around the same amount. Okay. Let's just do one more, and then I think we'll wrap this up. How about 132% of 91? Now, when you have things above 100, I'd probably prefer you to separate it out and to think of this as it's really 100% plus what percent? 32%. Okay, so what's 100% of, what are we going to round 91 to? 90. What's 100% of 90? 90. And then what could, instead of a 32% of 90, what would I estimate that to be? 30% of 90. So then I make 30% what decimal?
0.3.
Good. 0.3 times 90. Figure out what that is. $27. Now what do I do with the 90 and the 27? Add them up. Because wasn't it, I just separated it into 2 sections. I have 100% was 90, 30%. I add these together.
Oh, I got 118.8. That close enough.
That sounds like you didn't estimate.
Oh, sorry, I got 118.
Oh.
90 if you multiply 90 by 100.
It's, remember, 100% means you have the whole thing. So this is like 1.00 or just 1.
Still, we gotta do the challenge.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, we're going to do a challenge because the baseball players are going to leave.
Thank you.